Ah.
Hey, good evening. I'm Doug Handy.
And I'm Abir Shinawi, and welcome to Real Talk Our Space. And it's been a minute since you and I have been online together.
Yes, indeed. I think we gave some people some concern because the logo says Abir and Doug, but when you tune in, you don't see Abir and Doug.
That's
you
right.
see Abir
and somebody else.
Right. And then you see Doug and somebody else.
And then somebody else.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So we are back. It's December, and I'm excited, and I'm happy to be back.
Yes, I am as well. And since we're just getting started with December, that means we have a new theme for the month, right? So that's our tradition. Mm-hmm. And it's a theme that I think is very important. And I love the timing of the theme. So our theme is community activism, power to the people.
Yep.
And for those that follow us on Twitter, it's 'tis the season of giving back.
Right.
Right. So really excited about today because we have two guests who will discuss how their respective organizations give back to their communities. And well, I'm not going to get into it because that's what they're here for. But I'm just excited with the theme, the importance of the theme, this time of year, and just really, excited to be back with Abir on set in the studio and have wonderful guests with us. So what are your thoughts, Abir, on today's episode?
I agree. I think it's always nice to see people giving back to the community, especially in a community that honors them and respects them so much. But I think it's also to see how much people care. It could take one person to change the perspective of either that business, the perspective of the community, and the two people that we have on today have really changed that. And we're not having this show so they can come up and show off or show out, because that's not what we're about. Real Talk is always about elevating voices, and we want the two guests to come on and tell us why it's important to give back to the community, how people can do it, and what this does for the community as well. It's not so much saying, oh, we do X, Y, and Z because this is who we are. We want them to explain the importance of giving to community as well. And I think it's really like the basis of majority of the major religions. Me being Muslim, the sadaqah and the zakah and the charities is big. And I'm sure with you being Catholic, it's a big part of your religion as well. So it's nice to see how people embed that within our own country and society as well.
I agree. Can I claim Catholicism? I guess I can.
I don't know. I mean, you grew up Catholic, right?
Yes.
I mean, your uncle was on it. He's a brother, so
yes, he is.
You're very
I will claim that, right? And
we have you in a Catholic uniform suit to prove it, Doug. So yes,
got you. So it is right. You got receipts for it, right?
That's right.
Got the evidence.
Yep.
All right. So with no further delay, why don't we get started with our guest? So it is my pleasure to introduce. First of all, we're going to talk about the organization, A&J Consulting. It's a community engagement and outreach services, LLC. It was established earlier this year by its president and our first guest, Jalila Ahmed. Jalila is very committed and chronic social volunteer. I love that phrase. She's
love that,
chronic social volunteer. She just can't get enough of volunteering. And her goal is to commit nearly 15 years of community activism to help bridge the gaps between our underserved population and the organizations that provide resources, services, education, and opportunities. Jalila intends to assist in helping maximize our community strengths, community relationships, and creatively promote positive and effective social change. She has been married for 29 years, has 4 grown children and 4 grandchildren. She's a native Washingtonian, and she has been in rural Virginia for over a decade. Her intentions are to move in faith, love, and light, and her mantra is to, quote, stay in your light. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you all Jalila. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Jalila.
Hey, wa alaikum salam. Hey, everybody.
How are you?
I'm all right. Want to make sure the camera's right. I'm good.
You look great. I love the whole, what does it say? You're a chronic social volunteer.
Oh, yeah.
And your mantra of moving faith, love, and light, and stay in your light. I love it. From the moment I met you, I think that's a good word of saying light. And that's exactly what I saw. And then when we reconnected on Facebook, I'm like, yeah, that's my girl Jalila. So thank you for being on our show.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my honor.
I do my fake hair flip. I do what I can for the people, right?
All right. All right.
So thanks for being on our show. Before we begin, so if anybody wants to reach out, we'll bring this up every now and then. This is her consulting company. You can find her on Facebook. on A&J Consulting LLC. So let's get right to it, Jalila. Talk to us about your business. How did you get the idea for I would say business in quotation marks, because, you know, when people think business, they really think money, but we're also talking about, you know, what you do with the community. So how did A&J Consulting come about?
Well, A&J Consulting has been in the works for several years now, and I didn't even know it. Being a chronic volunteer, you find yourself in many situations where you're working with a variety of organizations. I was very big on relationships. I'm very big on relationships. And so I was watching a movie, The Black Godfather, with Clarence Avant. And they talked about how he made his business with relationships. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, because when you're providing any type of engagement or outreach, you're connecting people to services and resources and opportunities. But a lot of times you don't get access to the population unless you are organized in a professional setup, you know? And so wanting to ultimately start a nonprofit, which is a process, I said, well, I'm going to get some of my friends together and we're going to start an LLC that should help position us professionally to be on certain boards and committees. Because when you are a volunteer, you're usually in the implementation stage, and A&J likes to be positioned at the time of the conception of ideas and helping to formulate those ideas into roadmaps of implementation. And hey, we're in the front line, so a voice for those who need to be represented was very important to me. And I said, well, this will be a great way to turn those relationships into something a lot bigger than me.
I love it. I love it. So it's sort of like giving a voice to, not the voiceless, but being more of an advocate for those who may not know how to use their voice or have the voice for that channel.
Absolutely. I say this a lot. We are about building bridges and bridging gaps. There is a breakdown in the synergy between certain government organizations, nonprofits, and so on and so forth, and everyone's doing their best. I went in to connect people to resources they otherwise would not have access to. And that's really my focus. I'm not about reinventing the wheel, literally looking to be an asset and a support, like a great pair of shoes, you know, to an yeah.
So we all love a great pair of shoes, right?
Right, we can all appreciate that. That speaks to everyone, right?
Yes, it does. It's
and the shoes have to fit well, is right. They got to fit, they got to be comfortable, functional. I like that.
I like it.
And our approach is rather holistic. And even though I am Muslim and I have a foundation in Islam and following the example of a great humanitarian, you know, and of course he's more than that, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. But we have an outline as to how to tend to our elderly and the children and the orphans and families and individuals. And so I come into it with a universal sensitivity, as opposed to, I'm not going to get rich on this because this is not about money for me, so, or for anyone that I work with. And I tell you, God has blessed us with some very powerful, dedicated, like-minded folks.
And we're going to talk about that in a few with another question and some pictures. So, you know, that's just a teaser to talk about, you know, the work that you do.
Thank you, guys.
Of course.
So, Jalila, you talked about Clarence Avant and his influence on you through that documentary, which I love that. It was a beautiful story.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Yes. So talk about some other influences. What or who was your biggest influence in your life that led to your success?
I've had so.
What was that face for?
There's so many people. We don't have time.
Give us two.
Just two? Okay.
Sure.
Wow, that's not easy either. I feel as though I've been groomed for the work that's being done. It starts from my parents. My parents were community activists. They were big, very big in propagating the truth of Islam. My mother has written books, Muslims in
Okay.
America, and they've traveled abroad, so I've seen this all my life. My parents started out in the Darul Islam movement back in the 70s, and this has just been the language of our family. My grandmother was a deaconess of her church for about 30 years. God rest her soul. She was committed to volunteerism. The sick and shut-in was her focus. So I've been exposed. Those two people have set the foundation. And I've gravitated to some great organizations and individuals who have molded me spiritually and professionly. I know all their names. That's what I'm saying. Oh, where do I start? But I'll start with those two. I've had a very strong spiritual guide in our family. The sheikh that my family follow started us off very young and transitioned professionally into working with an organization called Progressive Life Center out of Landover, Maryland. I think they're headquartered in DC. And they put a lot of emphasis on the Black community, our culture, and then transitions you into the importance of interconnectedness and harmony and equity and equality and inclusion and what these things mean. Of really helping people of all walks, because we are all loved by God. We're all one. And to get that balance from my supporters and educators, Dr. Gregory, he's amazing. See, hi, Dr. Gregory. He has taught a philosophy that has helped me speak the language that seems to be receptive to many different circles. So I'm honored. I hope I answered that. I'm very long.
No, you did. No, that was very good. I could see the energy you got from two strong female figures in your life, which is an interesting contrast, though, from your mom. And regardless of the religious base, they came across as being strong influences for you as well. So, yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people that come in your life, but we'll give them the main prompts.
You're one of them.
Thanks. You're making me blush, Janita. You keep saying that, and it's like reciprocal, because when I see what you're doing, I'm like, mashallah, like, I sometimes have to question what I'm doing, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's putting it in perspective for me. So, like I keep telling people, we fix each other's crowns in order for us to,
Yes, you help validate movement a lot of times.
I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm on the right track. Oh, okay, I'm not the only one. Oh, okay.
I appreciate that, Jalila. So thank you. It's the feeling is mutual.
Yes, I can attest to that as well.
Thanks. Oh, it's like a love fest for me. Thanks, everybody. So, Jalila, you grew up in the DC area.
Yes.
But you moved to rural Virginia, and that's country. And I know we've talked about it. So explain to our audience what rural Virginia is about. And talk to us, first of all, I'm sorry, before that, how did you get to rural Virginia from DC? Because that's like a big, transition.
Huge transition. Again, my life is guided. I'll tell you why I thought I was sent out here. But it ultimately turned into the work. I have 4 children. We were in Maryland. I was working again in Landover. I lived in Largo. And getting my children, I wanted to keep them in a homeschool setting. And it became extremely expensive to maintain their education. We were determined not to put them into the public school system just yet, to be frank. And so we sent them out here. My in-laws were already out here in South Central Virginia. And so we sent our kids ahead. And they had a great homeschool co-op, Rainbow Academy. It was a lot of educated mothers, former teachers, and dedicated parents. And they set up a really decent homeschool co-op. And one day my mother-in-law needed some help. My kids needed me. So my husband stayed in DC, and I left and moved out here to help tend to them. I volunteered at the homeschool co-op in the administration office, and it just kind of grew from there. Being here for their education. My youngest is 20 now, graduated last year.
Aw,
Yeah, my daughter's graduated from Longwood University.
good.
And
Congratulations.
thank you. There's two of my girls, but my elder three, they started out having graduated at Southside Community College. So I'm going to say that education got me out here.
Okay.
Wanting them to be in this environment. We're talking about open plains. It's real. Cows, horses. The nearest town is good 35, 45 miles from my home.
Wow.
Either way. Yeah. See, when you're from DC, don't get me started. Everything past 5 minutes is too far.
It is.
Right,
Yep.
right.
So it was a culture shock. Like, I'm still driving, but we have been blessed. We've got Walmart out here. We've got Target. So I didn't go too long without the comforts of home. But rural Virginia is it's a special place.
Talk to us though about the difference between being rural and urban, but not just like, concrete jungle to, like you said, pastures and cows. What about the socioeconomic piece that comes with rural Virginia that I think as an educator, we always put in the lens of education, people forget about the poor white and the poor blacks in the country. So can you talk to us a little bit about what life is like socioeconomically for a lot of the people that you help in rural Virginia?
In the first 10 years of, within the first 10 years of being out here, things have changed. That's why I'm starting out with this. At first, it required a certain, being educated, have a certain degree to be able to work either in state government out here. There were the state government workers. There were the educators of Farmville, which is about 35 miles to my left. I could be wrong, but it's a 2-university town. And so you had those who worked in that universe, and then you had the retail workers, and then you had those who tended to their farms and their crops. And then you had those who relied on the system. And I found that I said, well, it's not that different. I mean, I'm from DC, which has the federal government culture and state and local government. And I was like, okay, so it's not so. I gravitated, of course, to the working class, but the folks out here are rich in many ways. Many ways. They've got land. There are those who are land rich, those who have the education on cultivating land out here. There's a huge fellowship population. They really, even though many of the groups are exclusive, meaning that, you can have a church on one corner and all the parishioners go there and that's their support system. And you can go in the next corner and there's a whole nother one. They know each other. They respect each other. But yeah, it's as the years went on, Lynchburg has definitely reminds me of Alexandria, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, it's definitely Forest. Forest definitely reminds me of Alexandria, Virginia. People have come out here and wanted their amenities to follow them. So to give you a visual, you've got inner city dynamics. People are making pretty decent resources out here now, but the mindset is still very much not tainted by
big city life.
Big city, every man for himself, which is a blessing and a curse a little bit, because sometimes the level of professionalism and thinking outside the box that's necessary to keep up with the needs that come along with this type of progress, it's a little slow. for someone like me who has had the opportunity of working with Department of Social Services or Department of Justice or Juvenile Services, you already know, well, hey, they take advantage of their nonprofits.
Right.
There are so many variety of programs that are federally funded to take the weight off of certain entities. Out here, these people are dedicated, and they don't do a whole lot of delegating, but I'm not saying none. I'm not saying none, but it's different from the inner city. There's something else that drives and motivates state and local government to do things a certain way because they have a very Southern hospitality kind of mindset. There is a history, a racial history out here that that is still the mental damage is very real. And in this past 2 years, I have actually witnessed from all sides, people really trying to go against the norm and be more inclusive. Equity and equality is on the tongue. Cultural competence is new to the language.
Okay.
You know, which is not in the inner city. We're a little desensitized by it. But out here, which is great, is that people are starting to see things that they never saw. Some don't want change and others do. And it's just important that we all be at the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's why you're there. But I don't think that's a different dynamic than even big cities. Racial strife, people not wanting to change things the way it's been for years. So I think there really isn't much of a difference besides maybe the geography and the topography.
Yeah, sort of. The inner city has a very their iron wall is up and it's automated now. Out here,
I like how you put that.
Yeah, the as of right now, not to put my mouth on anything, but that same blocking doesn't take place where I'm at anyway. And we're definitely working together best we can. And there's a certain level of respect that has not been crossed just yet.
I see what you're saying. So I like that.
Let's get a little more insight, I guess, into, you know, so Jalila's described what she's seeing and the community she's in, but I think we have some photos to display that as well. So
I'm going to show some pictures, Jalila, and you can tell us, you know, a little description of what you do, because you do a lot. And when I asked you to send me some pictures, and you like send me, I'm like, wow, mashallah, she does a lot. So here's no, don't apologize. So here's this first picture. Tell us about what's going on in here.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this right here is from our, I think that was August, September, Boxes of Blessings, back to school program. We were very sensitive to families having to be thrown into a homeschooling scenario. And in the spring, we had got so much feedback when COVID first hit, when the kids were first sent home. And a lot of the feedback, there was concern about the supplemental education kids were accustomed to receiving at school or in the community, and people just not being set up, you know, and I know what that's like. I've raised 4 in that type of situation. And so we decided to call on our community partners. We called on the community and they responded, and we were able to donate art kits that were actually given to us. About 75 were donated from our local Longwood Center of for Visual Arts. And then we have the Virginia Children's Book Festival that donated a ton of books. We were able to raise enough resources to purchase about 35 printers. And we had a process. We had to come up with something, a quick assessment questionnaire to determine who was eligible to receive a printer. And each box had enough school supplies and office supplies so people can set up a home office with instruction and online
Wow.
information and some community information to help them get through, navigate through COVID. And they just drove up and picked it up. We did the numbers. If we say per child, I think per child, we reached about 170 some odd kids.
For you.
In 9 counties. But that was the first time we collected data. Our first Boxes of Blessing event happened in May, shortly after COVID hit, which was a food drive.
Mhm.
That kind of set the stage for our charities, because what was important for us was that this is not A&J. This is about everyone. And it was one of the first food drives where every group showed up. Black, white, everyone, a variety of financial circumstances hit by COVID, Muslim, Christian, and we actually gave away halal food. We were able to get 100 chickens, and our goal was a little more detailed at that time. We realized that Easter and Passover happened at the same time, and folks were stuck at home, but Ramadan was coming. And I said, wouldn't it be great if we could have the community break bread together, eating the same foods, you know? And we had about a week worth of food in there, but we also included chicken and basmati rice and dates and cakes and all these goodies for the kids. And in addition, I think we got all the beans in Southside Virginia. I think we bought all the beans because we were panicking. We're like, we don't know how long folks are going to be in the houses. But it worked out really well. And we had donations and support from everybody, from our local electric company to our the universities out here. Everybody gave and supported, churches, masjids, you know, and it was a phone call. It's about relationships, you know what I mean? And every dime that came in went out. You know, COVID hit before we could get our back office together. We had just started in March. So any resources that came in immediately went back out to our programs.
I love it. So if anybody's interested, you can find Jalila at facebook.com, A&J Consulting LLC. We have a few more pictures, but just let's talk about this one really quick. I believe this was for breast cancer.
This one was for domestic violence.
Domestic violence. There you go.
Yes, we partnered with our partners from the Fresh Boys Club. They come out every time and support us and help us. The young men help us with our setup and distribution and everything. So shout out to the Fresh Boys. That's an amazing story all by itself. But the Royal Jewel Social Club out here, we have social clubs, and they do a lot of grassroots community outreach. And in addition to the nonprofits and the other service providers, and the picture you just saw were the Royal Jewels led by Tyrencia Braxton. And we did a Purses with Purpose. We were able to donate to the local Southside Center of Violence Prevention, which I believe is the only one in our region, Madeline's house. And we donated these purses filled with a ton of goodies needed to those in need, and donated it to the shelters. But we also had a luncheon. We had to keep it small because of COVID, but we loved on some survivors, had some testimonials. We had some government officials come and kind of teach a little bit about rights and how to manage certain situations when reporting a domestic violence situation, and if you find yourself involved in one. And it was not a dry eye in the house, not one dry.
It's a very, very tough topic to talk about, domestic violence.
Yeah, but that weekend we were celebrating survivorship and hope. The next day we had a breast cancer awareness event where we loved on 12 breast cancer awareness survivors. Breast cancer survivors. Yes, that one. Yeah, Chris. And we couldn't meet, so we took them and paid for their lunch at our local restaurant, the North Street Press Club, and we bought them lunch, and then did a live where many gave testimonies from around the country, and some local folks that no one knew what they were going through. And local doctor came on and gave some guidance, and it was an amazing day. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So again, if anybody wants to help out with Jalila, I'm going to throw this up again because mashallah, you've been doing so much. Find her on Facebook, A&J Consulting. And before we move on to our final question, we have some from our audience
comments. Yes.
Comments. We have Joe Tang.
Really?
So
Great
we got Joe
here.
Yes.
Yes. Joe's one of our regulars. So when we're talking about
all around.
influences, he's a good friend of ours, and we always love having him on. Khatim Farid, I love you too. This is a good friend of mine. She's also like my mom. Thank you. I know, right? Former student of mine, Joshua. Thanks, Joshua. I love you too. He's always on. I'm glad I taught him well. I taught him in 8th grade, and he's now, a young man, and he's so cute. He sent me a message. He's like, when COVID's over, I want to take you out to lunch. I'm like, I'm not going to say no to free food.
I know that's right.
Right. My mom, I love you too, Yamma. She's like, mashallah, habibti, Allah yarda alayki. Oh, Allah ma'aki, I'm proud of you. Thanks, mommy. I'm in her house actually too right now visiting. And Joe is saying fascinating and thank you for sharing. And honestly, I thank you for sharing because it's amazing work that you do. So, we hate to have to leave and we want to talk more with what you are doing, but we always end off with our famous question, which is Doug's baby. And it's called...
We call it the 4x4 challenge. And Jalila, I'm going to tell myself. So maybe when we get a chance to talk some more, I have family who's in rural Virginia as well, but it's not where you were, but you mentioned Farmville. And I'm going to tell you, my mind went straight to Lady of Rage because she had a song and she said, I'm from Farmville, VA. I'm like, oh, Farmville. Yeah. So I can make a hip hop reference like anywhere, anytime. That's kind of just how I've come up. So in the 4x4 challenge, we try to honor hip hop and we talk about the 4 pillars of hip hop. So we have our MCing, our DJing, our graffiti art, and breaking, or B-boy and B-girl. So we asked our guests, can you name one person from each of those pillars that has resonated with you?
Oh my God.
In the spirit of hip hop.
I don't like this.
This is why, if you notice, we don't add it into our questions because we want to see what our guests are going to say. So
okay, got me through one more time.
Here we
go. What's the first one?
Graffiti artist, DJ, B-boy, or MC. Either one from each, if you can.
Okay. Graffiti. They have to be well known?
No, not necessarily. So that's how the challenge has evolved.
My cousin is very talented out of New York. Ahmed Abdul Shahid. I love his art. I know he is above and beyond graffiti, but his work is a reflection of our people and all things hip hop. Love him to death.
Okay. Yes. Cool.
The next was DJ.
Sure. Yeah, DJ.
Yep, or any order you want to go.
Any order you want, Jalila.
Yep. Okay, so the gentleman, he just did, what is his name on YouTube? Pass the mic.
Oh, yeah, DJ Cassidy.
Yeah, love him. He's my new friend. He's my new crush. Yeah. Next is, I'm half blind, folks. What's the next one?
So we're down to breaking. Yep, a B-boy, B-girl, or an MC. So you got 2 left. A dancer and an MC.
I'm horrible with names. I'm like, the one that's saying
ask Doug, tell him the one that's saying, and he'll tell you.
Right, you're doing great so far. Keep it going.
Okay. I am I don't even know why I have to think twice. Tupac. What? Tupac and DMX.
Okay.
Are they MCs? Are they MCs?
Absolutely.
Yes, especially DMX.
Yes. Yeah.
I think DMX is Doug's alter ego, by the way. We were talking about that the other day.
He come up quite a bit. See, there's the connection. Yes. So we got DMX with Jalila, Joe. We all can.
That's right.
You got one left, Jalila. You're knocking it out the park. You're taking a challenge to new heights. You're crushing it.
I know. Oh my God. Okay, and then dancers. I'm not strong in that area. I'm not saying Beyonce because I refuse. Hip hop dancer. I'm a little lost with that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to see people
Just
like
say J-Lo and
oh,
call it a day,
yeah.
Jalila. We're done. Fly girl.
You
Any
know,
fly girl. Just say any fly girl and you're done.
that's it. You know, but I know there are others. I just don't. Oh no, Missy Elliott. I love how she dances.
Okay.
I like that.
Missy
Nobody's ever
Elliott.
said for her as a no,
I
yeah.
like
Nobody's
that.
mentioned her outside of the realm of, MC or hip hop artists like that. But cool. We'll
I
take
like
Missy
that.
anytime.
I like
And she's
that.
a Virginia girl.
That's
There
true.
you go. She's a
Jalila
Virginia
make those
girl.
connections.
That's right.
Nicely
That's
done.
right.
Challenge
Well done,
met. Look
Jalila.
at that.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Thank you.
Well done. Kudos.
So
Kudos.
last time, please find Jalila on Facebook, A&J Consulting LLC. I'm so honored to have you on the show, sister.
Thank you.
You are amazing, and I'm happy that the world is able to see the work that you're doing. And inshallah, we'll definitely be in touch when I get back in town. We got to get together.
Absolutely, it's a must. Thank you guys for everything.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for all the people who have helped A&J. You guys rock. You guys have a great evening.
Thank
you
you.
too.
Thank you for getting on to. Take care.
So do I hang up? I get to go?
You can
And
go.
watch the rest of the show?
You can.
Yes, please do.
Alrighty. Assalamu alaikum.
Take care.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yes.
See, the challenge gets people. That's why we do it, right?
Yeah. My sister's texting me. She's like, Janet Jackson. I'm like, no, we said Janet Jackson, but okay. All right. So we're one down. Now we get to go. So this is the fun part. So when we ask this next person to be on the show, we always ask our guests to send a picture. So, the guests our audience knows whose it is. What was your reaction, Doug, when this person said they sent us instead their logo? What did you say?
So this is the first time, 24 episodes. So it's a blessing to have 24 episodes. And I thought we had the thing down to a science, and our next guest threw us the curveball.
That's right.
He's like, you don't get a photo of me.
Nope.
You get a logo.
You get a logo.
So just to let you know, we have an original coming up, and we are very happy to have him with us. He's like, take this logo. That's what you get.
Absolutely. Right? And I'm honored because this person is my brother. Monty Ramadan is a founder and owner of Hang Time in Indianapolis, which was established in 2004. Monty grew up on the south side of Chicago and took his skills to Indianapolis in 2004. Indiana didn't know what hit them yet. He's a firm believer in investing within your community, and especially the community that helped you become who you are. With Hang Time, he's built a brand that's currently an icon in the metropolitan Indianapolis area. Hang Time started their holiday giveaway in 2015, currently going on their 5th year, mashallah. And to date, they have helped over 120 families and counting. Now, before we bring him on, I just want to let everybody know, disclosure, my brother's humble. Because I'm his sister, he's coming on the show. Let's make that clear too. But he's going to explain to us the importance of this work, and he wants to make it very clear. It's not for him to brag. It's for him to really talk about the importance of giving back to the community. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Monty Ramadan.
Hey.
Assalamu alaikum.
The man behind the logo.
That's right.
How are you? There you go.
Welcome.
Hey. Thank
How
you.
are you?
Thanks for having me. Good. Alhamdulillah. Good. Proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Yep.
No doubt.
And Monty, we'll just jump right into it. We know you let your work speak for itself. So talk to us a little bit about, your business and how did you get the idea for your business?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it started in Chicago. I mean, I grew up in this industry. I mean, this was, I worked as an employee before I owned my own business. So it's not like I dove right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I took in at a young age and something that I liked, and I kept pursuing for it. And here we are, 2020, my own.
That's right. That's right.
So I encourage people, look, never give up, right? I mean, you're looking at a stock boy, right? So from a deli to a stock boy to my own brand. So alhamdulillah, we're okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the idea for the Hang Time, there was no Hang Time here in Chicago.
No, Hang Time. I was in Kentucky. I was sitting on a couch and ESPN came on because I was, trying to build my own brand and trying to build, my own store and whatnot. And ESPN came on and the legend, the GOAT came on, MJ, right? And
get that right for all you people, New York fans out there.
Yeah, the
we got double dose of Chicago this evening. So.
You're always outnumbered, Douglas. Sorry. Yeah.
What
So
Hang
Time is
no, I'm about to say I'll take Chicago over New York anytime. So
there you go. So that's how it started on the couch, ESPN.
That's cool. That's good. It's a great name, Hang Time. It makes a lot of sense.
Alhamdulillah.
So you did talk about growing up, and I know a lot of this, but talk to us about what or who was the biggest influence in your life that led to your success?
Oh, I don't think it was an individual. I mean, obviously you're going to say your mom and your dad and your family, yeah, hands
Right.
down. I mean, but the struggle, man, the struggle's an influence. People don't realize that. I mean,
Like that.
it's just, yeah, it's not an individual. It's the
Mhm.
struggle that gives you that push and that drive and that influence to push forward and never give up. I mean, people, yeah, dedicate your mom. I mean, your mom's going to be your mom. Your dad's going to be your dad. Your sisters, your brothers, but it's real life is who's going to influence you in life. They're not going to carry your hand, right?
Mhm.
It's that struggle, man. When you see that struggle, that's what the influence is. So
Wow.
to answer your question, it's the struggle.
That's a good answer. I don't think we've
Yeah.
ever had a guest give us that answer. That's either, like you
I
said.
mean, yeah, everybody has this, cool your mom. You're going to love your mom at
Mhm.
all times, right? You're going to love your dad and your family and your whatever. But they're not carrying you around, man. It's that struggle.
Mhm.
Hmm.
There you go. You got a shout out from Joe. The struggle is the influence. Wise
That's right.
words.
I mean,
We'll hear that.
it
Loves that man.
either makes you or breaks you. I mean, pick one.
That's
Right.
right.
Which lane you want to go, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
I heard that.
Yeah, man.
So speaking of the influence, I know this had a big influence on you as well. But how did going up on the South Side shape who you are today?
Oh man. Listen, you know how they say if you make it in Chicago, you can make it
Make it
anywhere.
anywhere. Mhm.
I mean, it's not a myth. It's true. I mean, especially back in the 80s and 90s, and one thing about Chicago, man, it's always in my heart. It's a different animal. It's a different breed. I mean, I've been to a lot of states and cities and towns, and the sister was talking about VA. I just came back from VA. I mean, it's Chicago. It shapes you. It shapes you. It makes you who you are. I mean, it's either you're gonna man up or you're gonna bunker up. Pick one. I mean, it's especially she's talking about race and
Mhm.
diversity and Chicago's New Yorkers to me is, I'm sorry, all you New Yorkers, is commercialized, right? It's back then New York was tough. I mean, Chicago was tough back then when hip hop was big in New York, and it was all about hip hop in New York, right?
Mhm.
Chicago was all about survival back then.
So Monty, let's put it in context a little bit. So growing up on the South Side of Chicago, now we know the racial difference between black and white. Talk to the
Yeah.
audience about who you are. Let's talk culturally, ethnically. What made your experience different, especially on the South Side of Chicago? Being who you are.
You want to be blunt? Yeah, it's the
this is real
streets. I
talk.
mean, it's listen, living in the inner city, it's all about the streets, man. It's all about it's gang banging back there. It's all about who you are. If you're gonna be a leader, you're gonna be a follower. I mean, if you're gonna be a follower, you're done. You're gonna, God knows where you're gonna lead to. If you're gonna be a leader, you're gonna lead yourself and put yourself in the right position. I mean, the only state or city or whatever county or Los Angeles is the only place that I can compare Chicago to.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Other than that, streetwise and growing up wise and the struggle wise, and they're not saying nothing taken away from New York, but Chicago is just a different breed.
Well, what about being like an Arab male in Chicago?
Of course, no, it was new to them back then. It was us growing up. It was new. The first Gulf War came through. That's when things really hit the fan, and we had to tighten up. And then we tightened up and we stuck together, and we had a coalition against sisters that were wearing the hijab, that we had their back. And the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, was I forgot what year it was. It was
89, 90,
maybe
89, 90.
Yeah, that's when we had to buckle up. I mean, that's when we had to really find out, okay, you're Arab American, you're a Muslim, you're pick your lane. You're gonna stick your chest out and man up, or you're gonna buckle up and go the other way.
Right.
So we stuck our chest out and man up, and we represented our people, and that's how it happened. Alhamdulillah.
I'm surprised Joe ain't saying nothing about New York. We talk about his city.
I know.
You're getting a lot of love from Tulsa. Hey,
I mean,
Sam.
look, I got a lot of love. New York. I go to New York a lot, and I miss some big guys in New York. I mean, my boys is, some big heavy hitters in the hip hop game. So I mean, we talk about it all. We argue all the time. I'm not going to back down. So.
Oh, there you go. He comes out. So much shade thrown at New York is having Jordan not enough. Nope.
True story. I bumped into Starks at a parking garage.
Nice.
And he had his golf clubs. He had his golf clubs, and he accidentally hit me by accident. I mean,
wow.
and I didn't know who he was. And I was, he's like, "Excuse him." I'm like, "Excuse." He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, "Yo, Start." Long story short, I said, "Man, look, you're a legend, but if I take a picture with you, man, I might be banned from Chicago, man."
Yeah, he played dirty too. He played dirty too.
But you got that famous dunk, right? Then that one game.
He did.
Starks got his on that one play, right?
How many rings does he have, Doug, though?
0.
Exactly.
None.
That's all that matters.
It's
He gets some love.
I took a picture with my man, so I'm not going to deny it.
Nice.
That's cool.
I
just showed it to my kids. I only showed it to my kids. I haven't, I didn't make it public. So,
so this is actually I don't know why he comes up as Corey Cafe. This is my husband.
You know who that is.
That's right. My man, Monty. Man, him and I think they're like split from the same seed, them two. You got some love from Sam. Hang time is the best. They sure are.
Sammy.
And there's Mama telling you, mashallah, I'm so proud when I see my heroes. I beat an Abu Jaida. We're heroes. Ooh.
Very nice. Wow, that's big.
And then Joe, haha, amazing. That's all he's got. He can't give us anything else. So we have you here. Go ahead, Doug.
Yes, I'm just thinking though, I was really soaking in what Monty was talking about, inner city navigating the streets. But then when you start talking about the Gulf War, now you've got almost like this national sentiment, if you will, right? So I understand you're dealing with it right there in your neighborhood, but I'm just trying to frame everything that you're sharing about how you're navigating these spaces. And I really like what you're saying, like either you become a follower or a leader. And like you said, just, standing up for yourself, who you are, what you believe in.
Oh yeah. It's all about, your identity back then was serious, man. It's either you're this or you're that. I mean, it's you want to be Hispanic, go Hispanic, and be, and run away. You want to be a fake gangster, go be a fake gangster. You want to be. So, people like that to this day, when I see them, I'm like, just be yourself, man. And I tell my kids all the time, lead, never follow, man. And that's key. Yeah. Because if you follow, half the prison system's followers.
That's right.
I'm just being honest and frank with you, man. It's half the world is followers, and you got to lead. You can't follow, man. And I tell, and that's the key of success in business too. You want to be successful, you got to lead. You want to sweep. You want your employees to sweep, you got to sweep. You want to mop, they mopping them up, you got to mop. I mean, you got to lead, man. It's lead is key to me, and people don't get it. Right.
And like I said, some people don't have it in them. You're right. It's not, you talk about how you sharpened yourself going through what you've experienced. Some people just cave in, right? Yeah.
It's my worst fear with my kids, and I pray that they lead, they never follow. And we go at it all the time. I mean, I'd stick up for yourself. I don't care if you get, we're on air, man. If you get tore up, if you get, mentally abused, just stick up for yourself. I don't care if it's King Kong. Don't back down from nobody.
Oh, the famous Denzel quote, King Kong ain't got on me, right? So we're going to take that one. So we have him on here for a specific reason, Doug. So
right, and I think we have some photos perhaps to go with it. But Monty, I know this is the work that you do, but I'm really curious to learn more about it. I've been to the website, saw some fabulous pictures. But talk to us about the Christmas giveaway. Tell us what it is and why is it important?
Yeah, and then we'll go into the pictures.
Well, look, it ain't why I'm doing it, why it's important. I think, people don't get the big picture. If you're in the inner city, especially in the inner city, we're not necessarily saying, African Americans or Hispanic, any inner city you're in, and there's poverty, right? I mean, you and I know it could be white America, it could be in the rules of VA, it could be in Colorado somewhere. But people intend to come in the inner city, and statistically, the inner city folks, we spend more money than the outskirts, right?
Right.
But people don't realize that they're either going to make you or break you. But if they make you, you need to salute that. And saluting that is investing in your community. And that's what started this. I'm like, we struggled. We came. I was an employee. I mean, we built a name. I mean, they embraced us. So it started out slowly with a couple, probably 2-3 of us, me and a couple of my team members, and we started talking. And we reached out to a principal. Principal reached out to a battered, sheltered, women's shelter. Then I reached out. Now today we're denying checks. we're denying checks because we want to keep it organic. I mean, I don't want to sit there and name some NBA players. We've had 2 we denied.
Wow.
Yeah. So Walmart has been a great partner.
Mm-hmm.
This is who this is, the picture of this guy?
Yeah, he's the big boy of Walmart. But we had to check him a few times. I mean, it's not like we got in easy, right? I mean, so they're doing, I give, and when people talk bad about Walmart, honestly, and people don't realize this, if you're out there watching the sister that just left, just to give you an FYI, Walmart has a grant yearly per community, per zip code that they have to release.
Okay.
They have to use. Every store manager has a grant. If they tell you no, they're lying.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so they have a budget. Believe me, I dissected Walmart in and out because we were giving them a lot of whatever it is, a lot of cash flow. We were bringing them a lot of family. I said, yo, what do you got to match me? You got to do something for me. So that's when I opened the books and said, we're going to give you some of this grant. So anybody, 50 states, counties, zip codes, every neighborhood Walmart has a grant.
So
they have to use it.
So you had the Christmas giveaway, use Walmart and why it's important. So here's the process. Walk us through the process, Monty.
Well, the process is getting your resources. Obviously, the resources is the social workers, the principals, the shelters, the DCFS or whatever there was, government agencies, caseworkers. You line those people up and they start feeding you families. Once they start feeding you families, we start reading their interviews, we start going through their application process. We're reading their testimony and then how many family members and what's their struggle. It's a process. It's not 1, 2, 3. Then you narrow it down to your budget. Then you narrow it down to your families. But this year is a bit different because of COVID. So this year, what we're going to do is we're going to take out 12 families instead of 25 to 30 families because of the COVID situation. And we're going to increase the budget per family. So we're really looking for families, that are really, really, really struggling right now. I call them, as in, I'm blunt with it, families that are in the mud, that you want to help, And so it's a long process. Right now, we're going through the process currently. We do a 3-step process interview. I call them, one of my team members calls them, and then we get a final call just to make sure we're on the same page and their stories are not changing. But a lot of these families are already validated before they get to us.
So then it's an entire experience for them. Like we see in this image, they come to the store, you load them up on this, this like coach bus, you give them like the whole,
It's a long day. It's a whole day process. Listen, shout out to Puma, Emory Jones, Rock Nation, all those guys. Those guys are doing it big for us. Puma this year donated $500, $500 per family. Emory Jones, he's probably in Hawaii right now. I just FaceTimed him the other day. He's Jay-Z's right hand. They come through. Last year they came through with about 100 jackets. Puma's doing the $500 gift card plus the socks and stuff. Timberland's coming through. Brand Jordan and Nike unofficially come through. Hats off to my man Arenzis over there. They don't kind of send us goods for the event, but they supply us other ways. So, there you go. Rock Nation. Joe Tang. Yeah. So Emery's a dear friend of mine.
So
it's a long story. I'm not explaining it. Let's
right.
Look at that. That's amazing. That's
beautiful.
That's worth more than money, man.
Okay.
And it's an experience. Like we don't have the video, but you make them feel special. Like I said, they go in the coach bus and they get there, and there's like characters and people, and
we bring in a turtle. Yeah, we bring in it. It's amazing. Look, I don't want to sit here and brag, and it's just it puts a smile on my face. It's amazing. It's we bring in the live body turtles. It's crazy. They shut Walmart down when they're walking through Walmart. Them turtles.
The Ninja Turtles.
Some of these family members are, some of these agencies we deal with. It's either a mom or dad was doped up and they lost their kids, and they're in the process of getting them back. So, we ask them, is it a positive story or a negative story? If it's a positive story and Like, for an example, last year we had a couple that this will be their first Christmas with their kids in 5 years.
Wow.
It took them 5 years to get them back.
Wow.
And when they met with us, they had to have caseworkers between them. And the next day after our event is when they got back living with each other. So it's a lot of, I mean, we've had agents, federal agents that are undercover, that because of this father can't be close to his son, or this mom can't be close to the daughters. I mean,
Oh, it's not because they're Muslim. They're there for that.
no, man. No, it's because of them. They tell me, hey, I'm such and such from this agency, and we're here to make sure that it's done right.
Yeah. So we're
not because I'm Muslim. I don't care about that, man.
It's a joke, man. It's a joke. My family's watching, so our nephew is like, Yusuf screamed, "That's Ammo Monty on TV." I love it. I love
Very
it.
neat. Very
So
neat.
if anybody, before we move on, if anybody wants to follow them, you follow them Facebook, Twitter, it's just Hang Time Indy. This is their information as well. If you ever want to help donate or whatever you can do, if you're ever in town, you want some stuff, you can go. Really no reason to go to Indiana besides that, but that's
just let me clarify. Hold on a few things. We don't take donations, right? We're not there yet. We don't want to. We want to keep it organic, right? If they want to donate, help a family within their reach, right? So we're keeping it real organic, and I'll tell you, we deny a lot of zeros. Yeah, it's my Ram, my brother, he's big on that too. I mean, we've even denied. We're in talks with somebody big in the state right now that we're probably going to deny him in a few days.
Wow. So why do you do it? Just to keep it organic, or is it you feel like some people are doing it because they want to do the recognition?
Yes. Like this person that we're talking with now, their purpose is something else. It's like they want to overshadow. It's like advertising. No, we don't need you, man. So I'm good. That's why our sponsors, they don't sponsor us. They sponsor us goods to physically give to the families. If you can't do nothing for my families, don't talk to me.
Yeah, he's real. That's exactly what he's saying.
It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about advertising. If you can't touch these kids or these moms that are struggling or these dads that are struggling, nothing to talk about.
Got it.
So Monty, the folks that you do have though as part of this partnership, if I understand correctly, some give financially and others give, like you mentioned, Puma. Some actually give product. Is that how it works? Or
Puma, just to show you, nothing's financially.
Okay.
Puma, in fact, I got them here. Puma, and I love Puma. We have a big, strong team. Puma's giving me $500 gift cards.
Okay.
So they'll get $500 in apparel.
I got you. Okay.
Nice.
So we deny money. Nobody gives us money. We don't want no cash. The family members will not receive $1 in cash.
She can dig it.
But they'll get, so they'll be happy. Trust me. We'll take care of them. And first and foremost, like Abir said in the beginning of the show, it's part of who we are in Islam as a Muslim. I mean, this is not about fame. It's not about Christmas. But it's that time of year, man. And sometimes you're like, yo, is this 2020 or is this 2019? I've had a family member that was living off of a generator.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh man, it's you guys have no idea. You got to be there. This is not about, and then now thank God we get customers that come in and say, you know what? You spend with us, our money's going back to the community. And that's what it's about, man.
That's exactly what it's about, right? Yep, exactly. Yep. So that's a good point that you talk about, and Jalila agrees with you. Absolutely. It's, people know you're authentic, you're real, and you're not just there to, make some bank and go home.
Right.
So,
guys,
again,
I'm not going to repeat myself. We've denied zeros.
That's a good thing.
Alhamdulillah, I don't care for it. It's either keep it organic or can an organization group get this Walmart grant? Yes, anybody can get it. You have to, you got to get in there. They have a budget. They have to use it.
Okay. And that's Kuja. So I'll definitely keep in touch with her about that, because she also has her nonprofit organization. So that's why she's also.
And one more thing, I'm going to let you go just to let you guys know.
No, you still got 2 more questions. You're not going home yet.
Hold on. We don't use their grants physically. What we do is we tell them, okay, if we have 60 kids, give me 60 jackets.
Got it.
This year we have less kids, but give me turkeys or give me give me something. So they're going to give me jackets this year.
Got it.
Plus, they're going to give me some, I think, turkeys or whatever it is, or bikes, and we have a mutual relationship. They know what's up. They know Target is waiting down the street if they don't act right.
Target. So, all right. So we were able to talk to you about the serious stuff. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So this is my baby, my question. So question for you, Monty, is, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to have you answer it. Which artist would you have perform an album about your life and why? What would the album title be? And let me guess, it's going to be, go for it.
It's Pac.
There you go. I told you.
Wow. Pac's racking it up tonight.
Okay. What would the album title be and why Tupac?
In my lifetime.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Why Pac?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that, man. I mean, it's come on. I mean, he's a poet, man. He's just Pac. I mean, you could talk to him. He could relate to you. You could, I mean, it's, people might laugh. I mean, the only guy to me that's closest to Pac, and they might not agree or disagree with him, is Jeezy, young Jeezy out of Atlanta. I mean, he probably has his own demeanor that Pac has. Look, New York is hip hop, man. I don't want to get into this New York and Biggie, and it is what it is, man. And a lot of them listen. A lot of them, I got a lot of mutual respect for them. We go through this all the time. But yeah, Pac, it is all day, Pac.
I knew it. I knew that answer right away. So that's cool. So
while we're on the whole theme of hip hop,
yes,
Monty, while you all revved up, 4x4 challenge. All right. So
I mean, look, I don't know no graffiti. I know one guy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Okay, but hold on. Let's just see what you got. Go ahead, Doug.
He's ready. We like that. Okay, so 4 pillars of hip hop: graffiti, DJing, breaking, MCing. All right, Monty, it's all of you. Go for it.
Graffiti wise, I mean, there's a guy named Jeff Staple. He's an artist. He's he does his famous pigeon, and hats off to him. I mean, Jeff Staple. I don't know if he's a graffiti artist. He might have started as a graffiti artist.
Okay,
but he's an artist. He's Google him. He's a beast.
Yeah, look him up. Just okay.
Yeah, Jeff Staple. He does collabs with Nike now. I mean, he does these big dolls that are worth like $10,000-$20,000. He's a beast.
Okay,
all right.
That's graffiti.
What's the next one?
DJ.
Yep.
There's a lot of them, man. I mean, Kid Capri.
Okay.
Woo Kid. Yeah, Woo. I mean, it's just a lot of them. I mean, it's a lot of too many. Kid Capri, but Kid Capri life sucks. But I'll tell you that right now.
Gives him a shout out. That's the first thing at the same time.
I didn't know that.
Only my brother.
Yeah. Live. He's whack.
Okay. See, I'm learning stuff. This is good. I never knew that. All right.
B-boy is next.
You got a B-boy, a breaker. Any dancers?
Nah, breaker, man. That's a New York thing. Oh well, you know what? You want to give it to the legend? To go give it to Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's been mentioned bore. Yeah,
absolutely. And the last one, of course.
Or even Diddy, Mr. Diddy himself.
Okay. And the last one is MC.
You got to double down on your MC.
Of course, man. Pac, man.
All right.
Got it. So I'm not surprised. I knew Tupac would be at the top of the list. I think my brother still thinks he's alive, hiding out somewhere. But
no, that's too much.
That's a different question. So before you leave, Monty, we have all this love in Arabic. منتصر الله يخلي لك إياهم ويحميهم. شكرا خالتي and my mom. اللهم آمين. Habibti, they're going back and forth with each other, these lovely ladies. So again, if anybody wants to follow, you can follow them on social media, Hang Time Indy. That's the easiest thing you can do. They're very big on their Instagram as well. They got a great Instagram game with that as well. My love from Jose. We love Monty, of course. And Jalila says she thinks he's alive too. So I'm not getting into that one. But okay, so thank you, Monty.
No, but seriously, one more thing, and I'll close it out. You guys would be surprised who's struggling out there. I
agree.
There's a lot of stuff that I can't speak because when we deal with these agencies, it's confidential. Your life is sweet, but it's. I want to go bigger. Hopefully, we want to do our own just bigger items, bigger ideas. But guys, a lot of people struggling out there.
You
Need a
ship?
hang time hoodie. Yeah, we ship. We sell. Well, I'll ship you me if you want to buy it.
Inside
Joe,
the
you don't
hoodie.
want that, but we'll get you. We'll hook you up. Don't worry, Joe. We got you.
Yeah.
Hangtimeindy.com, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right,
Thank
Habibi.
you. I
Thanks for
appreciate
being
Thank you,
on the
Monty. We
show.
appreciate your
Good
time.
luck to you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Anytime,
Alamai.
just let me know.
All right,
Thank you.
inshallah.
All right.
Alamai.
Take care.
Bye. All righty. So that was a fun way to end the show.
Fun and lively. Yes.
I told you, it wouldn't disappoint. Wouldn't
No, you did.
disappoint.
You did say that, and he certainly delivered. So
Yeah.
that's just very exciting to have two folks, two outstanding human
Yes.
beings,
Yes.
making those types of investments in their community. The thing I thought too that connected them, just how energized and animated they got talking about how they were helping people. Frankly,
Yep.
just the smiles on Jalila's face and the intensity in Monty about what he's, even how he closed out. You have no idea. I guess the need that some people are in. So. Really want to applaud them for their work, and hopefully they've inspired some folks this evening.
I hope so.
Yes.
So what's our next episode going to be about, Douglas?
So we are staying with our theme of community activists. We're going to have the Chesapeake Language Project will be featured, Aaron and Tema from that organization. It's an organization that empowers English language learners by increasing engagement, cultivating relationships, and minimizing barriers. And for those that have been with us for a while, they might remember they dropped in for one episode and just put out a request for some support from anyone who was looking to support the organization. But they'll get into a lot more detail this time around and give us an update. Very excited to have them back.
Yes, I agree. And last comment from Jalila. Blessings to you all. Blessings to you too, Sister. MashaAllah.
Absolutely.
May you continue to grow with all that you do. And we always have to give a shout out to those that matter. Music is produced by Corey Carter. You can follow him on Twitter at Mr. Carter Teach.
Yep.
He is definitely the man when it comes to our music.
Appreciate
And
him.
yes, remember our shows will be every 2 weeks now. So you won't see us next week. You'll see us again December 16th with our great, and that episode actually will be more about immigrants and how they help immigrants, which is a great cause. So I had a great time. I'm always having a great time. It's always good to see you, Douglas.
Likewise, Abir. Good to see you as well. Yes.
Thank you.
We will see you soon. And thank you for everyone who's joined us this evening. And we hope to see you all next time.
Next week. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Take care. Good night.